To do the Super Bowl?
The deal, everybody. My name Kendrick Lamar, and I'll be performing at Super Bowl 59.
Drake was supposed to be one of the artists that was with Tidal. Drake says no, goes get $40 million from Apple. Jay-Z hates that nigga now. You feel what I'm saying?
Y'all do 11 Super Bowls in New Orleans, man. Y'all have yet to put a hip-hop artist from New Orleans on the damn Super Bowl. There's no reason why Lil Wayne should not be performing the Super Bowl. There's one person who's stopping this. I know, it's not really a secret. Lil Wayne had a problem with somebody before who's kind of part of the organization running it. This is payback. Who's that? Who's Lil Wayne artist? Drake.
Yeah, hating at this age is crazy.
This was a two birds, one stone situation for Jay-Z.
And I would not lie to you. I have not got a call.
I'm kind of Jay.
But we all praying, we praying.
The hip-hop scene is electric right now, with all eyes on Lil Wayne as he takes center stage in a thrilling drama involving none other than Jay-Z. If you thought their rivalry was a thing of the past, think again. Wayne has turned up the heat, throwing shade and revealing secrets that could change the way the world views the Roc Nation mogul. Get ready, this story is about to get intense.
One year you said the best rapper alive since the best rapper retired. Was that your way of paying homage to Jay? Or did you always feel like you was the best rapper even before he retired?
That was me paying homage. Anyone, all my friends, anyone, Baby, Slim, anybody could tell you, to Lil Wayne, Jay. That's all they, Stun ain't wanna hear that shit. He ain't disliking me. It was just that I'm too much on it. I'm too, just too much. Goddamn. Santa Claus ain't real. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's right. Well, Christmas today. You know what I mean? But shit, that was, to me, he was the way he put words together and by being.
Wayne and Jay-Z have always had a quiet, underlying tension between them, with their rivalry stretching back for years, though it usually remained under the radar. That all shifted when Wayne confidently declared himself the best rapper alive. His audacity to challenge Jay-Z's self-styled throne was enough to spark a fierce feud.
I want to ask you this. The accuser originally filed this lawsuit back in October, only naming Sean Diddy Combs, now amending that lawsuit to include the name of Jay-Z. Initial reactions to this, does that shock you? And from your legal perspective, why might this change have occurred?
Well, these are very serious allegations, but Jay-Z has vehemently denied them. We have been seeing this trend since the criminal case was brought. There has been this influx of allegations from civil attorneys bringing civil lawsuits, looking for a really gigantic amount of money from both Diddy as well as those that they say were involved. One of the trends that I think is very concerning is this idea that they name an unnamed individual and then they send essentially a demand to their representatives and to them individually for some sort of settlement prior to them revealing the name. Can they resolve that? And it appears here with Jay-Z that this type of demand went to Jay-Z. He said he's not paying a penny. In fact, he said not a red cent, suggesting he sees this as blood money, and that he was not going to do this, and that he's the victim of an extortion scheme. That could be the case, and that could be something that as time goes by, we see more information about whether these allegations really were founded in sufficient truth to bring them forward in the first place.
So what are the next steps now that Jay-Z's name is connected with a lawsuit against Diddy? What happens legally?
Well, he'll have to defend himself. And so the first thing you have when you have a complaint against you is you have the answer to that complaint. There may even be legal avenues that they can take to try to quash the complaint or complain about something having not been done correctly, but he'll have to answer to it, deny those allegations to the extent that he's able to do so, just as he's been doing in the media. So this will be something that goes on for an extended period of time, but this will come down to the facts and potentially testimony about what did or didn't happen.
And Andrew, for our viewers, I wanted to share this. This is the statement that Jay-Z released. Quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice."
Jay-Z, never one to let a shot go unanswered, fired back with some harsh lines. His track trouble was a clear, not so subtle jab at Wayne. But the ever-defiant rebel didn't back down. Instead, he stood firm, doubling down on his claim, which only fueled a rivalry that would grow fiercer with time.
This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. And so, Andrew, taking a look at this, and also, I did also want to ask you, when it comes to the alleged victim, the person who is filing this lawsuit, right now, this is a Jane Doe situation. Is there any circumstance where a judge would compel this individual to reveal her identity or their identity publicly because of the high profile nature and the seriousness of these allegations?
Well, to kind of piece that apart, first, Jay-Z says, bring this in criminal court. Well, we have to note that the DOJ has not named him, has not brought those allegations, and I think that they would be very interested in a case like this if there were actual criminal acts that occurred. So you have to wonder why this hasn't been handled criminally to start with. The standard in a civil court is much lower than in a criminal court, beyond a reasonable doubt in a criminal court, preponderance of the evidence in a civil court. As for the name of the victim and whether she can remain a Jane Doe or whether that will come out as her actual name, there is precedent for both being the case. And it deals with a number of factors concerning the publicity, the ability to defend yourself, the ability to rebut things in public. So there have been folks who have been forced to reveal their names in the Diddy case so far. And also many people are going by the Jane Does. So we'll see what happens, but there will be a point of reckoning where that story will have to be told in an open courtroom with a jury and determinations made if this pursues itself all the way to the end.
Andrew, before we let you go, is there anything else that you're keeping a very close eye on when it comes to these sorts of developments?
I'm keeping a very close eye on the attorneys that are bringing these civil lawsuits that seem to be doing a lot more investigation, seem to be having a lot more information than the FBI and the DOJ. That's highly suspect to me. There is certainly a large financial interest in what's happening with these lawsuits and the position Diddy's in. So I think that it's very important to maintain the presumption of innocence with folks that are being accused. Obviously, people are very curious about what's happening, and we want to make sure that anybody who violated children or committed any types of crimes are held responsible. But we have to have responsibility in the presumptions of innocence versus the salaciousness of these stories and the sprint to presume guilt that we see sometimes in especially social media and those types of posts.
Absolutely. Important point to note there, Andrew. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And as Andrew was mentioning, the attorneys involved, I did also want to share this statement with you. This is Tony Busby, who filed the lawsuit on behalf of this Jane Doe, saying, quote, Mr. Carter, referring to Jay-Z's legal name, Mr. Carter previously denied being the one who sued me and my firm. He even filed his frivolous case under a pseudonym. What he fails to say in his recent statement.
Over the years, their feud seemed to simmer down, or so it seemed. They collaborated on tracks, shared stages, and even publicly praised each other. But underneath it all, the tension never fully faded. It was like a dormant volcano, quietly biding its time, waiting for the perfect moment to erupt.
Is denying allegations he sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was sexually assaulted by both men at a Video Music Awards after party in 2000. In a blistering statement, Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, these allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? He added, my only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. Joining us now, Joey Jackson, CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. There's a lot to unpack here. Joey, I want to start with just the statement from Jay-Z, which is so forceful in its denial. I just read a teeny part of it. It's long. where he says that they should file a criminal complaint. Is that even possible at this point?
So based on the allegations, Jessica, good morning. Good to see you. I think that it certainly could be. Why do I say that? Now, he, of course, is more than annoyed, would be an understatement. He has a family and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because rape in New York, and what's alleged in this complaint, is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her down, raped her, and that, of course, the allegation is that Mr. Combs did the same thing. And so if those facts are actually accurate, it would require an investigation by prosecutors. And if true, right, you could pursue it criminally. Now, with respect to the evidentiary value, yes, it happened 24 years ago, right, more than 24 years ago. But in the allegations, there's a few things. Number one, there's allegation that another celebrity was present at the time, right, in addition to other people. Number two, there's the claim by the victim, right, that she left, that she went and she was seen by a gas attendant who saw her in distress. Number three, that she phone called her dad, who showed up, the 13-year-old, and now removed her. So civil complaint, simply allegations, need to be proven in a court of law, but if true, it could rise to the level of criminality, and, you know, we'll see what happens if the DA looks and investigates.
So what happens now?
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint, and in a civil...
That moment has finally come, and Wayne is seizing it with full force. With Jay-Z's name now dragged into lawsuits and startling allegations, Wayne sees the perfect chance to strike, and strike he does, powerfully. He's not just throwing shade, he's revealing secrets that could unravel Jay-Z's meticulously built image.
Through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact-finding, right? Before that, just briefly, there was a demand letter sent. And a demand letter is a letter being sent by a lawyer saying, hey, I don't have to sue you. We can sit, we can mediate it. If we reach an agreement, it never sees the light of day. Jay-Z saying, I don't care about your demand letter. I look at it as blackmail. You want to sue me, sue me. You want to look at it criminally, look at it criminally, but it'll go through the fact-finding process. If a trial is necessary to determine the facts, that's what will happen, but it'll be deemed civil. No indication at this point as to whether or not any criminal investigation will ensue as a result of this.
Yeah, and Jay-Z came back incredibly forcefully against these allegations and really singled out that attorney as well for being, I'm paraphrasing here, but greedy, saying he's out to get money, and calling that letter essentially blackmail.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Jessica, also suing the attorney, saying he's intimidating him, harassing him, etc. Now, demand letters are not new. What lawyers do is they send them out as a matter of protocol and practice so that you can expedite the process. At the same time, there's certain ethical standards that you have to use, and you have to have a good faith factual belief that this is true. Now, you can argue this complaint was filed in October, right? Could have mentioned Jay-Z then. You didn't. Why? It was amended now to include him. Are the factual assertions true? Are they fact or fiction? Is it a money grab or not? All of that will be litigated in a court of law, but according to Jay-Z, this never happened, is pure fiction. It is a money grab, and he's fighting for his name, reputation, and certainly innocence and justice in his view, which is he didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and you touch on a point, too, that I wanted to ask you about, which was that this was an amendment to this already existing lawsuit. What are people to take away from that? The fact that they're coming back and adding to this now with this specific name?
Yeah, you know, Jessica, so it depends. That's also common. You could amend lawsuits, right, as a matter of course, and you do, to include certain factual allegations. The interesting thing to me, in terms of your question and the takeaway, if you had this information about Jay-Z, it happened allegedly in September of 2000, why not include it in the original complaint? What happened between October and now that necessitated you putting in, and it's a question of credibility. Was he celebrity A, right, as was noted in the October complaint? Is this pure fiction? And what's interesting in the complaint is he really, that is the lawyer, tries to tie Jay-Z to Mr. Combs in so many ways, right? Birds of a feather.
The firm sent his lawyer a demand letter on behalf of an alleged victim, and that victim never demanded a penny from him. Instead, She only sought a confidential mediation. Since I sent the letter on her behalf, Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. His conduct has had the opposite impact. She is emboldened. I am very proud of her resolve. And so we continue to follow the very latest developments as we share this information with you, as we do now know that Jay-Z has been named in connection with a lawsuit involving Sean Diddy Combs. Now, Diddy's lawyers also responded to this, telling TMZ the amended complaint and lawsuit are, quote, shameless publicity stunts designed to extract payments from celebrities who fear having lies spread about them. We're going to continue to follow all of these developments as they happen and, of course, bring that to you as we see.
That's not the only skeleton Wayne is dragging out of Jay-Z's closet. He's also resurrecting long-standing rumors about Jay-Z's relationships with younger women. While Jay-Z has always claimed he met Beyoncé when she was 18, some interviews hint they may have crossed paths when she was just 15 or 16. Then there are the persistent rumors about a relationship with Foxy Brown when she was only 15, a claim Foxy has denied. Now, Wayne is suggesting that he may have receipts to back up these explosive allegations.
A civil lawsuit alleges rapper Jay-Z sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl back in 2000. The lawsuit was originally filed against Sean Diddy Combs back in October, then refiled on Sunday to add Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter. The plaintiff, identified as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men at a Video Music Awards after party. The artists have denied those accusations. Now, in a statement through his company, Rock Nation, Jay-Z responded to the lawsuit and the lawyer representing the plaintiff, saying, quote, my lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had calculated was the nature of these allegations and the public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect. It made me want to expose you for the fraud that you are, his words, in a very public fashion. So no, I will not give you one red penny, end quote. Now, the lawyer, Busby, did not immediately respond for comment on this, but has refuted Carter's accusations of blackmail on social media. Meanwhile, Sean P. Diddy Combs is still in custody in New York, awaiting his trial on federal sex trafficking charges. He tried to secure bail, but was denied several times. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson joins us now to go over this lawsuit. Welcome, Jessica. A lot to talk about here. What can you tell us about the timing of Jay-Z's allegations, since he wasn't named in that initial lawsuit filing?
That's right. Well, we don't know for sure, but in hearing Jay-Z's response, I think one possible scenario is that the attorneys came to him and said, we'd like X amount of money, and if you don't give it, then we are going to name you in a civil suit. Now, again, we're reading tea leaves here, but it would be reasonable to think that there was some discussions, let's say, behind the scenes. And sometimes what happens is that a celebrity feels like the accusations alone are so harmful that it's worth it for them to say, okay, here's this pot of money. Sometimes they feel like saying, giving over the money and having that potentially be reported will look like they're admitting guilt. Here, what we have is Jay-Z being extremely unequivocal in saying, not me, not it, no way, no how. And in fact, I think we might see a situation where Jay-Z and his attorneys might go after the attorney who filed the case, potentially asking for sanctions, potentially saying that this is a frivolous suit and or that there was no good faith basis to add Jay-Z to this complaint.
Now, given that this is a civil lawsuit, Jessica, what are your thoughts on the plaintiff still going under the name Jane Doe in this lawsuit? If she wants this to continue forward, will we eventually learn her name?
It depends, but there are lots of public policy reasons why when it comes to a suit like this, when it comes to allegations of sexual assault that were perpetrated against a minor, that we say that you can remain anonymous. Now, again, I wish I could give you a specific answer, but in part it depends on how far this case goes, whether or not we might hear testimony. But I think it is important for people to know that the law does provide protection many times for people filing these types of suits, particularly, again, against very powerful celebrities, because regardless of what you think of this specific case, you can understand there are reasons.
Wayne is painting a damning picture of Jay-Z as a man with a troubling past, someone who allegedly manipulates younger women and orchestrates cover-ups to protect his empire. These allegations are grave, and if Wayne really has the receipts he claims, they could bring catastrophic consequences to Jay-Z's reputation and career.